Coming up on Carolina Week, the presidential race is heating up. Our reporters travel to South Carolina to cover the rallies in some unexpected places.
And it's the biggest night in Hollywood. The fashion, the films, the fame. Find out how our town is getting down for the Oscars.
I wanna be the very best.
This weekend isn't just about leap years. There's another big celebration that has any 90s kid feeling nostalgic.
All that and more. Carolina Week starts
right now.
From the UNC School of Journalism and Mass Communication, covering Carolina in HD, this is Carolina Week.
Good evening and welcome to Carolina Week. I'm Avery Hall.
And I'm Luis Fernandez. We've got severe weather in the area to tell you about, so for that we're going to go live to meteorologist Matt Jones. Matt, what's going on?
Thank you. From sirens to straight line winds, we've had an interesting last couple of hours. I'm meteorologist Matt Jones for your senior meteorologist. So we want to look at the radar. This image was captured just a little over an hour ago, just to show you how close we were to a tornado. Funnel cloud was reported just 5 miles. So the blue dot is where we're currently located, just here on campus of Chapel Hill. And if you look just to the north of us, this is where that center of rotation. If we look at the green winds, we're just looking at those going a little northeast, and then the red winds are kind of coming from and going towards the southwest. So we're looking at kind of opposite winds. That's right in the middle where we're going to get our funnel cloud right here in that kind of rotation. So we saw a little bit of rotation just to the north. We also had a second funnel cloud as well. So we'll have more on that coming up here pretty soon.
Thanks, Matt. Everyone make sure you stay safe out there. Now to our top story. North Carolina primaries are less than 3 weeks away, and our state is a big prize for presidential candidates. Carolina Week reporters got a taste of what's in store for our state. They've just returned from the primaries in South Carolina. Reporter Sharon Nunn joins us. Sharon, I hear you've been following these races closely.
I have. It's been a lot of fun for me, as I can imagine it's been fun for all of you to watch. Now, Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, all states that are now almost done with their primaries. And the Palmetto state next door is almost done. Let's take a quick look at the leaders in both parties. Trump now has taken his third state. On the Republican side, he has won New Hampshire, South Carolina, and Nevada, while Cruz took Iowa. In the battle between Bernie and Hillary, Clinton took Iowa and Nevada, while Sanders pulled out the win in New Hampshire. Now, North Carolina's primary is scheduled for March 15th, but it's sure to have some interesting results, and let me tell you why. An advocacy group sued the state, claiming legislators drew congressional districts based on race, and a 3-panel judge just ruled that 2 North Carolina districts had been gerrymandered illegally. We got an exclusive interview with Republican presidential candidate Ben Carson in South Carolina, and he weighed in on the issue.
Gerrymandering has been going on for a long time in this country. I don't like the whole process because obviously it's manipulated by whichever party happens to be in control. Now,
NC voters can still head to the polls on March 15th to vote in the presidential primary and on other state issues and offices. But if the newly redrawn districts are finally approved, voters will have to go back June 7th to vote on the U.S. House primaries.
An important time, without a doubt. I'm sure you'll be taking care of it all.
So excited to cover it for you guys.
It'll be a lot of fun. Thank you, Sharon.
Before voters hit the polls during the primaries, candidates hit the pavement to try to win support. Reporter Brett Thompson was also in South Carolina for the primaries, where he observed the art of presidential campaigning.
Buses, elaborate backdrops, and passionate supporters. These are 3 things you can find at a presidential rally, along with the occasional neutral observer.
I offer all the candidates a flower for peace as a symbolic gesture that should they become president, there be peace over their term.
Weber was just one of thousands at Trump's town hall meeting in Gaffney. While Trump attracted the biggest crowd, dedicated supporters flocked to events like Ted Cruz's rally at Mutt's Barbecue in Easley and Marco Rubio's event at Swamp Rabbit CrossFit in Greenville.
He's the man, and I'm pretty outspoken. I've got lots of friends and other people I've met that going into the rally, they were for Cruz or they were for Trump. When the rally's over, like I say, when you meet him face to face, it's like he's the man.
It's not just the rallies. Candidates set up campaign headquarters across the state, like Trump's in downtown Greenville, which, admittedly, I got a kick out of. Candidates also strategically pick their event locations to cater to certain audiences, like one attendee at Rubio's CrossFit rally.
So the gym here is the gym that I work out at, and I go to Furman, so it's 10 minutes from here. And it's cool to be in an intimate setting like that where you have access to them.
But all of this pomp and circumstance isn't enough if you can't convince the people you're a worthy contender.
Donald Trump could make America great again, but first he's going to have to make himself good.
And while people like Weber will continue to speak their minds, thousands more will attend to see who they hope will become the next president of the United States. In South Carolina, I'm Brett Thompson reporting.
And the campaign trail for Republican candidates is still going strong as they're slated to go head-to-head in another debate Thursday in Texas.
One organization is working to make sure political leaders hear millennial voices when deciding public policy. A national organization, the Roosevelt, is a nonpartisan think tank emphasizing the millennial vote. Here at UNC, the local chapter discussed the result of a survey published in a document called the Blueprint 2016 at its latest conference. While presidential candidates have emphasized higher ed, the results of the survey show that the economy and human rights are the two most important issues for millennials.
The Charlotte City Council has passed a controversial non-discrimination ordinance. It would allow residents to choose whether they want to use a men's or women's restroom based on their gender identity or expression. Governor Pat McCrory warned before the vote that if it passed, the state government would take action.
It's been more than 3 years since someone beat Faith Hedgepeth to death on her off-campus apartment, and now there might be new clues as to who killed her. A nationally syndicated show aired a voicemail reportedly containing her last words. Faith's father, Roland Hedgepeth, says the Chapel Hill police have had the recording since the beginning of the investigation. A forensic audio expert says his analysis picked up the voices of at least 2 men and another woman. Roland says he's sensitive to Faith's voice and knows it's her calling for help. He believes the recording is authentic. There's still a $40,000 reward for tips leading to an arrest in Faith Hedgepeth's murder.
The Zika virus has made its way to our state. The State Department of Health confirmed the diagnosis was in an adult who returned from a country with known cases of the Zika virus. The patient's symptoms are gone, and there seems to be no risk of the virus spreading. Coming up, it's time for the big event on Sunday.
And Chapel Hill is preparing for it in glitzy fashion. We'll take you down the blue carpet to gear up for the Oscars.
The Oscars aren't until Sunday, but that didn't stop movie fans from stopping by the Varsity Theater Tuesday night for a 2016 Oscars preview. Guests got to walk the blue carpet and strike poses for a photographer. A ticket to the preview included a voucher for popcorn and the chance to hear from film experts Dana Cohen and Scott Myers from UNC's Writing for the Stage and Screen program. The pair discussed all the nominees, snubs, and trends of the past year of film. Clips from all the nominated films were shown for guests to enjoy.
The Oscars backlash continues because all top 20 actor nominees are white. Haley Ray takes a look at how UNC filmmakers are responding.
You've probably already seen the hashtag #OscarsSoWhite and heard about celebrities boycotting the awards ceremony. It's clear people are angry at the Academy.
It's just so political, and that's just not what it's all about.
Faraz Karan is a UNC screenwriting student from Palestine who hopes to have a career in film.
You know, it's like an entertainment thing. I just want to make people happy, make them smile, and it shouldn't be about where I'm from.
He says there aren't many successful Palestinian films or filmmakers in Hollywood. This lack of diversity is a reason for the bad buzz around the 2016 Oscars. Aspiring director Daniel Sofrito says he thinks the response has been a little dramatic.
The 2 Best Director winners have been Mexican, the last 2, and it could be Mexican again this year for Iñárritu. So it's a bit overblown. It is somewhat of an issue, but I think there's been progress on it in Hollywood.
A recent study by the University of Southern California found that 73% of speaking roles in films were white, but non-whites bought almost half of all movie tickets. Kathy Perkins, a dramatic arts professor, says the issue has been addressed before, but there's still room to improve.
We are part of this world. You can't ignore us. You know what, 2040, we talk about the browning of America. And I think when you bring in diverse cultures, it enriches, it enriches us as Americans.
The lack of racial diversity in film extends to UNC's campus. In the dramatic arts and screenwriting programs, 141 students are white, while 16 are African American and 2 Asian.
I just want to get a chance. I don't want to be stopped before I even get that chance.
Karan says he'll continue to pursue his career despite obstacles in the entertainment industry. In Chapel Hill, I'm Haley Ray reporting.
That USC study showed that TV has done a better job of diverse casting.
Making its way to the stage, a show that always raises eyebrows, but also raises money for a good cause. It was something that was neat. The Vagina Monologues bring out aspects of the female experience that are often too uncomfortable to talk about. Friday and Saturday shows will feature actresses who share stories from women around the globe. Producer Aitza Burgess says the show is for a mature audience. Proceeds from ticket sales will go to the Orange County Rape Crisis Center.
Some people use yoga to stay fit, but one local instructor is using it to manage disease. Health reporter Manali Nigam looks into the therapeutic benefits of yoga.
Feel the outside of your left hip draw back and reroute your right heel.
Lori Burgwin teaches people how to control stress that comes with autoimmune diseases when the body's defense system attacks itself. Burgwin has 2 autoimmune diseases herself.
On any given day when I wake up, I don't know what my day is going to be like. I don't wake up always feeling healthy.
In the United States, 1 in 5 people has an autoimmune disease. Burgwin has both the thyroid disorder and diabetes. She says her years of experience with yoga helped her realize something was wrong with her body.
And so I felt like my practice gave me that, if you will, intuition to say something's not right.
Now, after her diagnoses, Burgwin uses yoga to help manage her symptoms. At UNC, Dr. Laura Young uses both alternative and traditional methods to treat people with diabetes.
A lot of these chronic conditions have a lot of sort of psychological stress related to them, and so people struggle with the day-to-day management and going to doctor's visits and having to take lots of medications.
All that anxiety causes the body to create more stress hormones, which can put more pressure on the immune system. Young says it's possible yoga can help improve the that stress. The National Institutes of Health classifies yoga under complementary and alternative medicine. Here at Franklin Street Yoga, a class is designed specifically for people with autoimmune diseases.
My practice has helped me through meditation and through breath work find a daily dose, if you will, of ease, of everything's okay.
Burgwin says she hopes her classes will help people the same way yoga has helped her. In Chapel Hill, I'm Manali Nigam reporting.
Burgwin says taking just a minute each day to focus on your body can have a positive impact on your health.
It's raining, it's pouring, and strong winds are soaring.
Matt Jones has the forecast for the wild weather outside and the calmer conditions to come.
Thank you for joining us live back in the Weather Center. So like we talked about earlier, we had a tornado warning that just passed just north of campus. And this actually was just the first of 2 tornado warnings. So we spent almost an hour in kind of lockdown conditions for campus, that is, and that was an all clear. So this was the email that was kind of sent out, as well as the Twitter. UNC Police and Safety Emergency Warning. The university has activated the sirens. So you guys walking around campus had heard the sirens. So we're going to talk about in a second what to do when we actually hear the sirens and where to go on campus and what's the difference. So right now we're looking at, this is coming from Wayne County. This is structural damage from straight line winds, which is the first threat that we saw today. A nice picture out from Durham Bulls Stadium. So you can see just off to the distance, kind of that darker clouds. It looks a little clearer over to the left a little bit, but you see the ominous clouds in the center. This is actually a wall cloud. This is the start of a funnel cloud. It kind of drops down a little bit, starts that rotation, and then once it picks up, you'll start to get a funnel cloud and then a tornado. So this was the threat that we saw just about an hour ago. This was coming from an NC State storm chaser, one of our personal friends who's out there chasing right now. This is another picture of a wall cloud. You can kind of see it come down just from this cloud ceiling just at the top. This is just the start of it, and this actually produced a tornado as well down there, just a couple counties below us. So as the threat continues, this was just earlier, just about 30 minutes ago, Durham, we were under a tornado warning. This is actually the all clear. We also saw a tornado warning down in Hoke County, and then also a significant significant something to mention. Also in Vance County, just to the north of Raleigh, we saw a softball-sized hail, and that was reported by one of our storm chasers as well. So significant weather warning. So what are we talking about? We're talking about a wind warning. These are gusts up to 70 miles an hour that have been reported in North Carolina today. Severe thunderstorm warning, which we're currently under, so the threat is not over just yet. And then the tornado watch, which goes into effect until 7 p.m. But what exactly is the difference between a tornado watch and warning? Tornado watch conditions are favorable for a tornado. So we're looking at something like a tornado might happen in the next hour or two. Tornado warning, it means a tornado has been spotted by the National Weather Service storm spotters, and you need to take immediate cover. So we were under a marginal threat today, and we actually saw that come through. Several possible tornadoes, confirmed winds of 70 miles an hour, and 1.2 inches diameter possible for hail. This was actually more. So for February, tornadoes aren't too common. About 80% of them are EF0 to EF1, and then we look at well as 45 in the last year. So this is our low pressure system producing all those storms, and then we're looking like we're going to have no delays today for the state Chapel Hill basketball game, which is going to start at 8 p.m. So it doesn't look like there could be any threat. But if you're going to go to the game as well, you might want to bring a rain jacket as well as just something to cover up. And the threat of rain and wind will continue over the next few days. For a 5-day outlook, completely sunny for the next couple of days. So once we get through this weather and this kind of bad thicket of things, we're looking at a far greater chance of sunny skies.
All right, yeah, we were peeking outside, and some of that wind, that rain was looking pretty scary.
It's crazy. Even though the threat of tornadoes is over, we're also looking for a threat of flooding and some significant hail as well.
All right, so good time to stay aware and keep your eye on the forecast. Thank you, Matt.
Yep. Most definitely. All right, moving on now. Up next, Brett Thompson Kelly Glendenning will be talking to us about NC State Wolfpack, attacking them, see if UNC can beat their rival, air quotes there, moving forward.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. I'm Kelly Glendenning with sports. Tonight, the men's basketball team travels to NC State to take on the Wolfpack. Roy Williams still has not announced who he will start between Kennedy Meeks and Isaiah Hicks. And while Meeks has struggled lately, there's some compelling cases to start him tonight. Meeks has averaged almost 17 points, 10 rebounds, and more than 2 blocks per game in his past 3 matchups against the Wolfpack. Back in January, Meeks dominated State's bigs in the Dean Dome, scoring 23 points and shooting better than 60% from the field. Hicks has been great, but Meeks seems to have this team's number. That decision could be an important one, considering NC State is at the top of the offense in their rebounding in the ACC. And let's not forget about the big matchup in the backcourt as Wolfpack's Kat Barber comes into tonight as the leading scorer in the conference. But this is a chance for Marcus Page to finally end his forever-long slump. Why? PNC Arena has become basically a second home to him. Page has played out of his mind in his past 2 games in Raleigh, scoring a combined 58 points, including 12 of 17 from 3, 14 assists, and the game-winning points in both of those games. Scoring a layup with just seconds left in 2014 right there, and hitting the game-sealing free throws last year. Tonight's game is set to tip off shortly after 8 p.m. Now looking ahead beyond tonight at the remaining 3 regular season games. Playing well is a huge deal as the Heels look to finish at the top of the ACC standings. The lineup includes Virginia, Syracuse, and Duke. 2 of those teams out of the 3 are ranked, and all of them have winning records. Switching now from UNC basketball to another team in the Tar Heel state. It's more than 400 miles from the Outer Banks of North Carolina to the Tennessee state line. Reporter Alistair Wilkins shows us a high school basketball team that has to travel farther than that in 1 month.
The Ocracoke girls basketball team has come to Kitty Hawk for an early season tournament. For a team from a small, isolated island of fewer than 1,000 people, just being able to play is its own achievement. Senior captain, Josie Whitfield.
We have 12 girls on the team. There's only about 20 girls in high school.
The only way on or off Ocracoke Island is by ferry, which creates unique challenges for Coach Adam Burleson.
When we meet in the morning and talk about a game, we talk about the wind,
We talk about fog. We talk about any possible thing that could possibly imagine.
Including the ferry not running at the expected time, like this morning.
Well, it's about 9:30 when we find out they're not going to run the 11:30, so we instantly go into our backup plan.
Riding along with the team, we see things that aren't part of your typical bus trip. Even on this relatively calm crossing, spray covers the bus windows and waves lap onto the side of the ferry. Kitty Hawk is one of the closest high schools to Ocracoke, yet it still takes the team more than 6 hours to make today's round trip. That makes finding time for homework a challenge, but Whitfield and her teammates have their ways.
We use the ferry lounge a lot.
And being small and isolated has its advantages, says Star Junior Sydney Austin.
It definitely brings us closer together, unites us more as a family.
The Ocracoke Lady Dolphins have had remarkable success, making the state tournament each of the last 4 seasons.
You know, I think a lot of people underestimate us due to our size of school and how small we are, and we prove ourselves to them a lot of times, and they've been very surprised by us.
And even when, like tonight, the team loses, the challenge of just getting here keeps it all in perspective.
You can deal with these kind of things. You're going to be able to deal with whatever you get thrown at you in life later on when you become an adult. That's why we keep getting on the bus.
The team keeps getting on the bus and on the ferry. In Ocracoke, I'm Alistair Wilkins, reporting.
Well, this year, the high school championships are actually in Chapel Hill.
Yeah, they are, and that's actually a 4-hour drive for that Ocracoke team. And I just want to give a quick shout out to my high school basketball team. They're currently 27-1, so go Cary High Imps.
Good for the Imps, good for the Imps.
That's fantastic, thank you. That's Kelly Glendenning with sports.
After the break, even after 20 years, these fans, they still got to catch them all.
We'll take you into the worldwide anniversary celebration of Pokemon. February 27, 1996 will always stand out in history. 20 years from this Saturday, the hit video game series Pokemon was born.
Yeah, not only is it a video game series, Avery, there are card games, a show, merchandising, even competitions. I took a look at why everyone is still trying to catch them all.
After a long day of classes, senior Ryan Griffin makes his way into his room, sets his backpack down, gets comfortable, and reaches for a familiar friend. That's right, Pokemon. The Nintendo staple has been a part of video gaming vernacular for almost 20 years. Griffin remembers the first time he played.
I remember my parents brought home this big plastic package with a Game Boy Color, Pokemon Blue, the guidebook, and a little book light extension, and I was ecstatic.
It's a pretty simple game. You catch, befriend, and train powerful creatures known as Pokemon. And then you battle friends and rivals to find out who's the ultimate Pokemon master.
I wanna be the very best.
Pikachu and his buddies at the Pokemon Company make a staggering $1.5 billion a year.
Pikachu!
You know, just kept picking up the games, kept playing them. When I got to college, that's when a lot of people break out their old stuff and try to relive their childhoods.
2016 marks the 20th anniversary of the franchise. They're celebrating with giveaways, new games, even a Super Bowl commercial. Not only is it fun for gamers, there could be positive health effects too. Doctors from schools of medicine across the country have said video games can reduce chronic pain and anxiety. Griffin says no matter how old he is, Pokemon will always have a place in his heart.
Sure, it's marketed to kids, but you'll still always love it. We'll grow into our 90s remembering that Pokemon was there for us at age 5.
You know, Griffin actually plans on going into esports once he graduates, and it all started with Pokemon. And his favorite Pokemon is Dragonite, for those wondering.
I love it. There's some things you never have to outgrow. Do you have a favorite Pokemon?
Charizard, that's who it is.
Charizard.
Not even close.
Good pick.
All right, that does it for this edition of Carolina Week. Thanks so much.
Have a good night.